There's a mistake that sends thousands of drivers straight to the dealership every year, and it usually starts with one small dashboard light. The power steering warning light comes on, the steering suddenly feels heavy, and within minutes, someone is being told they need an expensive steering rack, a new EPS module, or a complete steering system replacement. Sometimes the quote is over $2,000 before any real diagnosis even begins. But here's the truth most people never hear. A power steering warning light does not automatically mean your steering system has failed. In many cases, the problem is something simple: a weak battery, a low voltage condition, bad ground connection, or a steering angle sensor that just lost calibration. If you want to learn how to diagnose problems properly instead of replacing parts blindly, subscribe right now. Because on this channel, we break down what actually fails, why it fails, and how to avoid wasting money guessing. Now, here's where confusion starts. Modern power steering systems are no longer pumps and hoses. Today's vehicles use electronic steering systems tied directly into the car's stability control, traction control, lane assist, and onboard computers. That means mechanical failure, electrical instability, software glitches, or communication problems on the network itself can trigger a steering warning light. And this is where most people go wrong. They see the light, assume the steering rack is dead, and skip the diagnostic process completely. So before you start replacing expensive parts, you need to understand what type of steering system your vehicle actually uses. Older vehicles typically use hydraulic power steering, also known as HPS. These systems rely on fluid pressure generated by a pump driven by the engine. If fluid gets low, if a hose leaks, or if the belt slips, steering assist becomes weak or inconsistent. Newer vehicles use electric power steering, or EPS. Instead of hydraulic pressure, these systems use an electric motor attached to the steering rack or column. Sensors monitor steering input, vehicle speed, and wheel position, while a steering control module calculates how much assist to provide. No fluid, no hydraulic pump, just motors, sensors, and software. Then there are electro-hydraulic systems known as EHPS, which combine both technologies. They still use hydraulic fluid, but the pump itself is electrically controlled. Hydraulic systems fail physically, electric systems fail electronically. That means the warning light behaves very differently depending on the system. Now let's talk about what the warning light is actually trying to tell you. If the light is yellow or amber, the system has detected a fault but may still provide partial steering assist. The car is warning you that something is wrong, but the system hasn't fully shut down yet. If the light is red, that's a completely different situation. The system may have disabled steering assist entirely, meaning the steering wheel will suddenly feel extremely heavy. Pause and answer this. Did the steering become hard immediately, or is the light on while the steering still feels mostly normal? That single detail tells you whether you're likely dealing with a minor electronic issue or a major assist failure. Now let's begin the actual step-by-step diagnostic process. The very first thing you should check is battery voltage. This sounds simple, but this is where countless misdiagnoses begin. Electric power steering systems consume a large amount of current. If the battery voltage drops too low, the steering module may shut down completely to protect itself. This is why steering lights often appear after a weak battery, alternator issue, or jump start event. The system loses stable voltage, communication becomes unstable, and suddenly the EPS warning light appears. Using a multimeter, check battery voltage with the engine off. A healthy battery should read around 12.6 volts. If you're below 12 volts, the steering system may already be struggling. Then start the engine and verify charging voltage. You should see approximately 13.8 to 14.4 volts. If the alternator is weak, the EPS system may behave erratically, even though the steering components themselves are perfectly fine. This is where most people go wrong. They replace steering racks when the real problem is low system voltage. Next step, check the fuses. A blown fuse can disable steering assist instantly. Locate the fuse box using the owner's manual and inspect the fuse carefully. Even a partially damaged fuse or corroded connection can cause intermittent assist loss. Now let's move to hydraulic systems. If your vehicle uses traditional hydraulic power steering, open the hood and inspect the fluid reservoir. Low fluid is one of the most common causes of steering warning lights and heavy steering conditions. Look at the fluid level markings carefully. If fluid is below the minimum line, you may have a leak somewhere in the system. But don't stop there. The fluid itself tells a story. Healthy fluid is usually clear, red, or pink. Dark brown fluid means oxidation and contamination. Foamy fluid means air is entering the system, and if the fluid smells burnt, excessive heat has likely damaged the pump or seals internally. Now check for leaks around the hoses, steering rack boots, and pump area. Wet, oily spots are a major clue. Here's where diagnosis gets interesting. Sometimes the steering warning light appears even though nothing is physically broken. This often happens after battery replacement, alignment work, or electrical interruption. And this brings us to the reset procedures. Quick question. How many times have you seen someone replace expensive parts without trying a proper reset first? That's exactly why understanding initialization procedures matters. Drop a comment below if you've ever fixed a warning light with something simple that a shop completely overlooked. Now let's go through the first reset method, the lock-to-lock reset. Start the engine with the wheels pointed straight ahead. Slowly turn the steering wheel all the way to the right until it reaches full lock. Hold it there for about 5 seconds. Then turn fully left and hold for another 5 seconds. Return the wheel to the center. Shut the engine off completely and wait about 30 seconds before restarting. In many vehicles, this allows the steering control module to relearn steering position and clear temporary logic faults. If the light remains on, move to the second method, the battery reset. Disconnect the negative battery terminal first, then discharge residual electrical power by holding the horn for about 10 seconds or turning the headlights on briefly. Wait 15 to 30 minutes before reconnecting the battery. This step is critical because many steering modules store temporary faults in capacitors even after power is removed. Draining residual power forces the module to reboot completely. Once reconnected, repeat the lock-to-lock procedure again. Now let's talk about steering angle sensor calibration because this is where many modern vehicles become extremely sensitive. The steering angle sensor tracks the exact position of the steering wheel relative to wheel direction. Stability control systems rely on this information constantly. If calibration is lost, the vehicle may disable steering assist, traction control, or lane assist features simultaneously. To manually recalibrate the sensor, park the vehicle on a perfectly level surface with the wheels straight. Turn the key to the on position without starting the engine. Slowly rotate the wheel fully left, then fully right, repeating the cycle 3 times. Restart the engine and drive slowly in a straight line to allow the module to relearn the center position. But here's the important distinction. Manual resets clear software confusion. They do not repair hardware failures. If the light comes back immediately, you need deeper diagnosis. This is where an OBD-IO scanner becomes critical. Modern steering systems store fault codes inside the steering module itself. Common codes like PDAO635 indicate communication or control circuit faults. Low voltage codes often point to charging system instability. Steering angle sensor codes indicate calibration loss or sensor failure. And this is where many generic code readers fail. Basic scanners often cannot communicate directly with the steering module. That means important companion codes are completely missed. Now let's talk about internal failures because eventually every diagnostic path leads here if the basic checks fail. A failed EPS motor can create whining noises, jerky steering, or total assist loss. Damaged torque sensors may send corrupted steering input signals to the control module. A broken clock spring inside the steering column can interrupt communication between steering controls and the module entirely. And if the steering rack itself fails mechanically, symptoms usually include stiffness, clunking, uneven assist, or fluid leaking from the rack boots. This is where the one difference that changes everything comes back again. Software problems appear suddenly and inconsistently. Mechanical failures usually worsen gradually over time. Now let's talk about prevention because this is where the most expensive steering repairs could have been avoided. For hydraulic systems, change power steering fluid regularly, even if the manufacturer claims it's lifetime fluid. Heat and contamination break the fluid down over time. Dirty fluid destroys seals and pumps. For electric systems, battery health is everything. A weak battery stresses the EPS module constantly. Corroded grounds and unstable voltage are some of the biggest hidden causes of steering warnings. And most importantly, never ignore the warning light. Steering assist problems directly affect vehicle control during emergency maneuvers. What feels manageable in a parking lot can become dangerous at highway speed. If this video helped you understand how to fix and reset the power steering warning light properly, hit that like button and share this with someone who's about to replace expensive steering parts without doing a real diagnosis first. In the next video, we're going to break down how to fix and reset the keyless entry warning light step by step. because what looks like a failed smart key system is often just a weak battery, a lost module calibration, or a communication fault that most people completely misdiagnose.